Afade, and good morning, everybody. We thank you and we welcome you to this morning's very special presentation, the Disaster Recovery Virtual Workshop presented by the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Society for Human Resources Managers, and the Guam Chamber of Commerce. I'm Jason Salas on behalf of KUAM News, and we have been working to put together this very special event because so many of us Guamanians are in need of help, we're in need of aid, we're in need of hope, and we are in need of answers. And that is precisely what we are going to deliver to you today. We have learned experts from FEMA, from the U.S. Small Business Administration, and from the Small Business Development Center, who are going to connect you with the resources available to you as we all go through the recovery process from Typhoon Mawar. Now, I'm going to introduce two lovely ladies, two friends of mine, and two leaders in the business community who are going to guide us through this and set up exactly what types of information that we will be covering this morning, applicable to businesses, nonprofit organizations, residents, neighbors, what have you. We have from the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, Jessica Leon-Guerrero and Maria Leon-Guerrero. Ladies, Hafade and good morning.
Hafade. Hafade, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much, Guam, for being with us today. As we are on this road to recovery, we know that a lot of help is here for our island, and we are very thankful for all our speakers today for making time to share with us how we can continue to move forward. We want to remind everyone that this is a recorded session. It will be available thereafter, so please continue to stay close to the various organizations involved who will be able to provide you access for this webinar, as well as information thereafter. KUAM will also have it, GHRA, Guam Women's Chamber, SHRM, as well as Guam Chamber of Commerce. We remind everyone as well, we know there will be a lot of questions today, so kindly put it on the Q&A on the Zoom. We will get to questions at the end of the workshop. So please, if you have any questions throughout, kindly put it on the Zoom link, and we will address it at the end of the workshop. Thank you all, Guam, for being here as we continue to be on this road to recovery.
Throughout the process is Mary Road. She is with the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. She is the president of that organization. And Mary has some thoughts about what you can do and what we can all do to recover from this very devastating typhoon. Hi, Mary.
Happy day, everybody, and thank you again for joining us today as GHRA continues to work with Guam Homeland Security as part of the EOC. We are part of the Response Activity Coordinator Program for the last 30 years, and GHRA leads the private sector industry in working in tandem with the Guam Visitors Bureau, overseeing tourism, but also all of private sector. And so we are working together with the government of Guam and all of our local federal partners in order to lead private sector, advocate for businesses, and assist in getting resources and solutions out during this disaster recovery. So if you have any questions or need resources out available to you, please know that you can contact GHRA during this time, as we do work in EOC with the Response Activity Coordinators in ESF6 for mass care, in providing lodging services, but also supplies and many resources out with our local federal partners. But in the meantime, as we continue to work with our sister organizations in providing this community outreach effort to educate and provide resources to our employers, we also ask that you each share this with all of your employees on various streaming media or with your communication channels within your businesses to really educate and provide guidance to your employees and our local residents during this time. It's extremely important as non-government organizations, we work together to provide the necessary information to continue to provide information out to our employees and their families during this time of need. And so we thank you very much for joining us. And today we will be focusing again with FEMA on local residents and how they can seek assistance, but also in working with our business organizations to get assistance through SBA and SBDC. So thank you to all of our partners for being here today. And without further ado, I'd like to bring on Veronica Verde from FEMA. Thank you so much.
agency was one of the groups that, even before the typhoon left here, they were already wheels up and they were en route to Guam to speed aid to us. And Veronica is one of the leaders there, the external affairs officer. And now it's boots on the ground to make sure that we as Guamanians are completely aware of what types of relief that they can provide to us. And then, once again, this information is applicable to businesses, to nonprofit organizations, to churches, to individual residents, to neighbors and everything. So we hope that you would get your questions in. We're seeing several already and we will get to them. And Veronica, of course, speaking for FEMA and what they have done to this point, what they continue to do, and what they will do as we all continue to recover from the typhoon. So Veronica, Hafide, and good morning. And we thank you so much for being here with us.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Veronica Verde with FEMA External Affairs. I could tell you that FEMA had already pre-deployed a lot of our teams prior to the storm. We were stationed over at the Emergency Operations Center there with Guam Homeland Security as well as the governor's office to try to look and plan ahead and see what type of resources were going to be needed before the typhoon made landfall into Guam. Afterwards, we ended up deploying many of our federal agencies. So FEMA helps to organize a lot of the other federal agencies that you actually see here on the ground that are helping. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they're helping with debris removal, also to help put down generators and needed infrastructure. We have American Red Cross that is here providing meals. We also have Health and Human Services who were at both Guam Hospital and also Guam Regional Hospital to help deconflict some of those hospitals with needed equipment. Also with technical assistance. I flew on a military plane with, I think it was like 3 cases of blood just in case there was that need. So we look to see what kind of support's going to be needed by our agency, by the government, and we try to help support that need when we're on the ground. Thank you. So just want to talk a little bit about what FEMA provides, mostly for your staff. Majority of us are staying in some of your hotels, and we realize that some of the staff that works there was impacted, by the storm. So, there are various ways for, staff, homeowners, renters, business owners who were affected to apply for FEMA. And some of those are going to be routed through the Small Business Administration. But there are several ways. One is by calling our 1-800 number. I think many of you have done that. We have close to over 14,000 registrations to date, and also have approved close to $2.3 million that has been sent out. So when we look at those numbers, we want to make sure that people have access to apply. And there are several ways. One is by calling our 1-800-621-3362 through the FEMA app, disasterassistance.gov. And I'm sorry, we also have a FEMA app through a smartphone to actually make application. Additionally, we have 4 disaster recovery centers that are open. People should visit that, if they have any questions within, 5 to 10 days, if they need to speak with somebody about any of the paperwork they've received. It's a really great idea to sit one-on-one and speak with individuals. They could also provide paperwork, and if they have any questions about reaching their FEMA inspector. So a person makes a call, they register with FEMA in any of those manners. Within 7 to 10 days, a FEMA inspector will come and visit your home to look and verify those damages. After that inspection, within 7 to 10 days, you should be receiving a letter of eligibility. It'll either let you know what you're eligible for. We could do direct deposit. That's probably the best way to get the funding there immediately. Some people still prefer the old way, checks. That takes a little bit longer. So let's talk a little bit about the types of financial assistance that's available. It is up to $41,000, but the average that people receive is anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. That could be for many reasons. One is you have to contact your insurance company. We don't duplicate benefits. So again, contact your insurance company. They may be able to help with some of your repairs. And then with FEMA, that $41,000 helps to jumpstart your recovery. So it could be used in many different fashions. We have in our housing assistance, rental assistance. So you could get rental assistance to rent while you're repairing your home, or while you're trying to look at maybe some longer term solution for housing. We have lodging expense reimbursement. That's if you had to, for example, stay at a hotel for a short period of time, during the disaster. That might be something that funding that could be available to you. We also have a repair and replacement. These are for homeowners. We look at your home and we'll look at some of the essentials to help you get back into the home. Once you call into FEMA, there are many programs, as I mentioned, and I don't want anybody to get confused. We have housing assistance, we have other need assistance that helps you with any funeral costs, medical, dental, childcare, any personal property that might have been damaged, and perhaps transportation. So that's a vehicle. It has to be a primary vehicle. It has to be insured. It has to have registration, and it has to be your primary vehicle. We may consider a second vehicle, but again, you'd have to give us information that that's an essential vehicle, for that head of household. So how do you get into all these programs? Is just call us 1-800-621-3362. The other manner is online, and of course, visit someone at the DRC, the FEMA app. All ways to get into our system. We'll determine what you may be eligible for based upon what you tell us what your damages are. So if you are already starting to clean up, make those repairs, that's fantastic. You need to do that. Don't wait on FEMA. Don't wait on your insurance inspector to come and visit you at your home. Already start making those repairs already. Take photos, take videos, and keep receipts of any repairs that you may have done.
All right, Veronica, thank you very much. So Veronica Verdi, once again from FEMA. Now she's not going anywhere, everybody. We are going to get back during the Q&A session, which again will be at the conclusion of the presentation, not only by FEMA, but our friends at the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Small Business Development Center. Keep those questions coming in, please. We're seeing a lot of good questions, and we ask, ask any questions, and please be as specific as you wish. People are indicating things about filing claims, about possible forms of reimbursement, about the extent of damage and everything. Keep the questions coming, because we're going to try and consolidate them, answer as many questions at the same time at the conclusion of today's presentation. So Veronica, thank you very much. We certainly do appreciate your hustle and you coming out here and having our back.
Thank you so much. And so I think I've already talked about this slide, disasterassistance.gov. You could download the FEMA app or call. You can also visit one of our disaster recovery centers. We have 4 that are open. One at the Guam Community College. We have one at Dededo Sports Complex. I hope I pronounced this correctly, but Taitano Elementary School. Taitano, thank you. And Inalahan Mayor's office.
So basically in all 3 regions of the island, Veronica, the north, the central, and the south. So
Yes.
once again, up in Dededo, if you are in the central part, that's at Taitano Elementary School in Tamuning, right across from the church. And if you are down south in beautiful Inalahan, FEMA is here. FEMA is here to help, and FEMA is presenting the ways that they will be here for us.
Thank you.
All right,
Next
thank you,
slide.
Veronica.
Thank you.
Okay, there once again on the screen, please everybody, if you're watching on a phone, if you're watching on an iPad, if your young person is doing this for you, please take a screenshot of this slide right here, because this is the information you need to know. If you are still having issues with your communication, if your power situation is a little bit sketchy right now, please share this with your friends. Again, screen share this, take a screenshot. This is what you need to know as far as URLs, as far as phone numbers, as far as where to go and who to call and who you may talk to as far as things. Please download the FEMA app. It's a really, really good mobile resource that has a lot of the information of which Veronica spoke, as well as some other things. So Veronica, we appreciate it once again. We'll talk to you very soon during the Q&A session.
Thank you so much. One of the things, I've gone over a lot of these ways to apply for FEMA, but just keep in mind that once you make that application, a FEMA inspector will contact you directly to schedule an appointment. So you may get an out-of-state phone call, a text. Please respond to that. When a FEMA inspector is going to meet you, they will have an official FEMA badge, and they will never ask you for money. So just please understand that. A FEMA inspector will also only be spending approximately 30 to 40 minutes max at your home. They know what they need to look at. They look at, just essentially the house. That's really what we're looking at. We want to get people back in the house. That's what really FEMA focuses on. We don't want people in shelters. We want to try to see what kind of repairs can we help to jumpstart individuals, homeowners, to get them back into their housing. That's important for us. So again, that FEMA inspector will spend anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes, not too long. And they're there just for a short period of time, but they will try to contact you. I know there may be some connectivity issues, but we will continue to try to reach you. I think it's going to be 3 times. After 3 times, your application is going to be put on hold. Just call us back. You know, if you don't hear from us within 10 days after you've made an application, that's 10 days after you've made an application, you could call us, be easiest. Press 2 for the helpline. You'll speak with somebody, and we'll be able to connect you with who your FEMA inspector is, and we'll try to connect you with an inspection.
All right, very well. Thank you once again, and we'll talk to you. Oops, there you go.
Yeah, so just a couple of items. So financial housing assistance, I had mentioned that, you know, we don't, duplicate, any other types of forms of assistance. That could be with insurance. That could very well be with maybe some donations that you might have received, but rental assistance, it basically covers a fair market rate. We provide funding for 2 months if the house requires habitability repairs, 1 month if utilities are out for a home and it's still inaccessible. And then we also have continued temporary housing assistance for up to 18 months. So if you can't live in your home and you're still trying to look at, what the time frame is to make those repairs, you may be eligible for rental assistance up to 18 months. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. We talked a little bit about lodging expense reimbursement. That's for if you had to, get a hotel, during the storm. It's 7 days after rental assistance is approved. So if you're approved for rental assistance, we're most likely going to provide you funding for the rental assistance to carry you while you're making those repairs to your home. And then there's repair assistance only for homeowners. For those without insurance, or maybe those that might be underinsured, there are typical uninsured items, wells, private roads and bridges and furnaces that may be covered under the repair. Again, it's to look at, what are those essential items to help you get back into your home to make it, safe and habitable. Replacement only for owners. For up to the individual housing program, housing assistance max, and that is again for up to 41,000. Again, the average is anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 that we've seen across the country that homeowners have received. And again, it could be for various means. It could be maybe somebody has insurance. It could be that maybe there was only a certain part of the house that was damaged, and we don't look at anything really outside of the house. We don't repair gates, we don't repair fences, retaining walls. So we have community service programs. This is provided to all the survivors. You don't need to apply for it. Not all of these programs are activated yet. We do have disaster unemployment assistance that we provide. That's for economic loss of wages. It's not typically covered under the unemployment assistance. It's FEMA funded. It's managed by the Unemployment Development Department. There isn't one here in Guam, so we're working closely with the territory of Guam just to see how we could coordinate those funds and what agency they would wish to use if this is approved. We do have, there's also disaster legal services. This is also FEMA funded. It's a free legal advice for attorneys. We do have crisis counseling. That's if there's a need for that. It's FEMA funded. It provides technical guidance. It's managed by the Department of Health Care Services. It's non-clinical. It supports programs to address post-disaster mental and emotional stress. So that's a really good a way for people to help to deconflict and to talk to somebody about what's occurred in their life. We have also disaster case management. That's FEMA funded. It's managed by the Department of Social Services, and it's locally executed by sub-providers. It could be like Catholic Charities, St. Vincent, who provide personalized recovery plans to eligible survivors. So again, this is, later on down the line when we're looking on a case-by-case basis, individual who may need additional funding. We work with other voluntary agencies to see, what other support that individual homeowner can receive. Thank you. So there are general conditions of eligibility. The U.S., you have to be U.S. citizen, non-citizen, national, qualified alien. You could be a parent or a guardian of a minor child who is a U.S. citizen. So if you do have a child who was born here in the U.S., you can actually apply for FEMA on behalf of the child by using their Social Security, and as long as they live in the same household. So that's important. We will be looking at ID verification. So that's either going to be through a driver's license or passport. We will look at occupancy and primary residency. So we don't take care of second residencies or vacation homes. That's to be your primary home. And so that's really important. We look at disaster related damages, not pre-existing damages that you had prior to the storm, and uninsured or underinsured disaster cause expensive and serious needs is something that is also provided. But even if you have insurance, you're still encouraged to apply because you may be underinsured. We want to make sure that you're in the system and that perhaps we might be able to provide you with some grants from FEMA. So occupancy documents, you could look, we do have a link here at FEMA.gov/fact sheets /how document ownership and occupancy FEMA. It'll talk a little bit about what you need to bring or have on hand to complete your application, a written lease agreement, rent receipts, or a landlord statement. So if you're a renter, these are important. Utility bills, bank or credit card statement or phone bill that shows your address. An employer statement is also something that we'll also consider. We look at a public official statement, mayor's office, public department, post office. Other documents that we'll need, for example, for transportation, if you're claiming your vehicle, is motor vehicle registration. Also, we're going to look at insurance just to make sure that you have some type of proper insurance for that vehicle. We'll also consider registration, voter registration, federal state benefit letters, court documents, and social services organizations that can provide documents on your behalf. We'll also look at letter from school officials, a minor child registration, and self-certification as a last resort. Yep, so all of these that we'll consider. And if you have any questions, please come to our Disaster Recovery Center. We could talk to you one-on-one. We could work through what your needs are. If you want to talk to somebody face-to-face, we're open 7 to 7 days a week. We're there partnered with the Small Business Administration. A lot of times people are now receiving letters of ineligibility. It doesn't mean that you were denied. If you read a little further, that may mean that you still haven't provided us with certain documents. Perhaps we need to look at proof of ownership. Perhaps you haven't provided personal identification. Perhaps you haven't provided us with your final insurance and what they're going to pay. Again, we don't duplicate benefits, but there are some individual homeowners that have insurance that don't even cover any of the damages within your house. So here we have just a flyer. I think I mentioned the majority of these. The Individual Assistance Program, it's a fact sheet. The team here will make sure that you're provided, with this information. But again, how to get into the system, call us 1-800-621-3362. I think a lot of people are not having issues registering at this time. If you call our 800 number, that's running 24/7 right now, 7 days a week. And then again, they could visit our Disaster Recovery Center. That's 7 days a week from 7 to 7 at 4 various locations.
Interactive session today, I should say, and I'm seeing a lot of questions come in. Please keep them coming. Again, please be specific. There are many questions relative to the island's business sector and claims to be filed. Veronica, thank you once again. So again, this information is being presented to you here, relevant to not only the business community, but also to nonprofits, to churches, to individuals, and perfect segue because the organization, the U.S. Small Business Administration, is here to actually help organizations. Kevin Wynn is the External Affairs Officer, and his area of purview is the West Coast. So that means he knows Guam very well. Guam holds a special place in his heart, and he rushed out here. I interviewed him on Zoom, and then I met him the very next day. He is here. He's joining us now in our Zoom forum with the the Disaster Recovery Virtual Seminar, which once again is brought to you by the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, as well as the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Society for Human Resources Managers, and the Guam Chamber of Commerce. Kevin, so good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Jason. Well said, Veronica, as well. And it's glad to be here, folks. SBA did come out with FEMA on that charter jet that Veronica mentioned, and we're on the ground now. And as the slides come up, I'll just let you know that we do have a business recovery center that is over on Route 8 at the First Hawaiian Bank building. And it is on the 3rd floor. It's at the SBA district office here on Guam, open 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. Next slide. All right, so I'll be brief. I'll do some parameters of the SBA disaster loan programs. And what I'm going to do is then take some questions from everybody. What SBA does is we have business and home loans for property damage. They're low interest direct loans to businesses, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters not covered by insurance or any other recovery funds. We also offer economic injury disaster loans for working capital needs. These are low interest direct loans to small businesses and most private nonprofit organizations. These working capital loans, what they do is it's to replace some of the lost revenue so they can help keep the bills paid, the employees employed, the rent paid, the electricity on. Those go up to $2 million, and I'll go over the amounts later on. We make recovery very affordable. Our low interest rates set quarterly out here are 2.5% for homeowners and renters and 4% for small businesses and 2.75% for private nonprofits. Affordable long terms, either 15 or 30 years, your loan officer will work with you on that. And the payments are based on the borrower's ability to pay. They're income-based loans. That's what they are. They're not anything else but income-based. We look at your repayment ability and your credit history as well. Next slide. And here's our loan limits. For business loans, these are for businesses and private nonprofits. What they do is they repair or replace real estate, inventory, equipment, et cetera, furniture and fixtures, things along those lines. And those can go up to $2 million. One of the good things about this current SBA disaster assistance loan program is that we have a 1-year deferral on all homeowner, renter, and business loans. These economic injury disaster loans that I mentioned are for small businesses only and private nonprofits. Like I said, they're the working capital loans, and those also go up to $2 million. The aggregate amount of both of those programs is $2 million. Now, for homeowners to repair or replace only your primary residence, we don't do secondary residences and we don't do pleasure boats. But if you live on a boat, we could consider that your primary residence, or if you live in a mobile home, that would also be considered your primary residence. We go up to $200,000 for those as well. Home loans homeowners and renters are also eligible for personal property. And SBA describes this as anything that you can actually carry out of your home. We go up to $40,000 on that for the homeowners and renters to repair or replace that property. We also offer mitigation loans once you're accepted into the SBA Disaster Assistance Loan Program for businesses, private nonprofits, and the homeowners. And what this does is it's resilience. It gets it to mitigate and prevent the future loss of the same type of damage, in this case, the typhoon. That would be retaining walls, concrete structures, things along those lines to keep you safe and sound in the next typhoon, which inevitably may come again to this beautiful island of Guam. What it is 20% of the verified physical damage, and it's limited to homeowners up to $200,000. Only uncompensated losses, and those are disaster losses not compensated by insurance or other recoveries, such as the FEMA grants that Veronica mentioned, reimbursement by another party, settlements of a lawsuit, et cetera, are eligible. They're not eligible if they have not complied with terms of a previous SBA loan agreement or any other federal obligation. One of the things that may get you kicked out, or actually will get you kicked out, is if you're not paying your child support, if you're 60 days late, if you've defaulted on student loans, or you're in federal income tax as well. Next slide. Requirements for loan approval. Borrowers must obtain and maintain appropriate insurance as a condition of most of the loans. And that's something your loan officer will talk with you about. Generally, it's about 7 to 10 days to get your application approved by SBA loan officers after you fill. Veronica has clearly said where all the disaster recovery centers are. The Business Recovery Center, as I mentioned, is at the First Hawaiian Bank on Route 8, 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. If you have a pen handy, I'd like to give you the www.sba.gov, and you can go there and fill out the electronic loan application, or you can come to those disaster recovery centers and work one-on-one with the customer service representative who will help you get that completed application in. And by the next day, it will be in our Fort Worth Processing and Disbursement Center as well. Vehicles are also eligible for SBA disaster loan assistance. You can get those low terms of 2.5%, and for a term up to 30 years, that would make an auto loan very, very affordable if your auto loan has been if your auto has been damaged or destroyed in this typhoon. Our 800 number is 800-659-2955 with any questions. I'll be on the island to address any concerns, and I'll be more than happy to stay here as well afterwards. The last three things I want to tell you is that we look at your credit history and your repayment and collateral. Collateral is not required to get accepted for an SBA disaster assistance loan, but if you do have collateral, we would ask that you would place that for loans over $25,000. Last thing I do want to say is that the physical damage deadline is July 27th, 2023 of this year. We encourage you to apply as soon as possible. Once you're in the system, you can get disaster recovery funds available to you, EFT, electronic funds transferred right away. And for the economic injury, we have a deadline of February 28th, 2024. And what that does is it gives businesses a chance to discover that they are starting to lose money as the recovery period goes on, and they're finding out that folks are spending their money on repairing and replacing their their primary residence, or they're buying furniture and fixtures such as renters. Therefore, they're not spending their disposable income at other shops. Come to SBA and we can see what we can do about getting you an economic injury disaster loan. And we also have, once you're in the system as well, if you decide to relocate, you can do that as well. Your loan officer will talk with you about that. And there is help available for refinancing your current high mortgage to bring it down into the 2.5% interest rate that it is now. Here's the place to go apply online, disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA. Once again, you can just go to sba.gov and you'll find that site there as well. And I'll be more than happy to take questions at the end of the program. And I thank you, Jason.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now, Kevin, if I may add, because I had actually emailed you the other day on behalf of some of the questions that I've been getting from some people, and your services and that of the US SBA actually apply to churches as well, because I know some churches have reached out and said, you know, our sanctuary may have incurred damages during the storm, but they may inquire with you as well.
Yes, sir. And they can apply with SBA for not only business physical losses for churches and private nonprofits, Jason, but they can also apply for that economic injury disaster loan as well. That rate is 2.75% for them.
All right, outstanding. Kevin Nguyen, once again, everybody with the U.S. Small Business Administration. If you have questions for Kevin, and I see a lot of questions coming in, we are consolidating the questions because we're going to get you the answers that you seek in addition to the presentations he just gave. So Kevin's going to step aside, get a cup of coffee, but I would like to bring right now Feli Diaz. She is with the Small Business Development Center. Speaking of businesses, now, you know, not every business on Guam is, you know, a 1,500 person operation, you know, with millions and millions of dollars of revenue. There's so many small businesses on Guam, you know, the mom and pops operations, the side hustles. Feli is here to address those concerns and the very unique environment in which they operate. So Fel, Hapade, and good morning.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you everyone for joining us today. My name again is Felicita Diaz, Feli, also known as Feli. I am one of the independent small business advisors at the Guam Small Business Development Center. And the office is here to help provide free business guidance and counseling in terms of keeping your business in operation, but most especially during this time is to help get your loan processed by the Small Business Administration here on Guam. There might be clarification or how to understand the requirements necessary to get your loan processed. And we are here to provide that as well. In terms of, we can also provide, help you provide or develop your financial plans that they might require. We're here to answer any questions regarding taxes, as well as to help you understand any expenses necessary to report to SBA. The office is currently closed. However, I am available to visit your place of business if that works for you, as well as we can provide counseling via Zoom if you have internet access. And as well, we can provide counseling over the phone. We do ask that you register as a client with the Guam Small Business Development Center. You can also call the office at 735-2590, and Lori will route your call to either me or Fred. Again, thank you so much, and we'll stay back to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Now, Feli, if I may just ask, what is the scope of small businesses on Guam? Because I mean, a lot of people just think, does it have to be relegated to the 2- and 3-person operations? What is the large extent of what small businesses are?
A lot of the small businesses here, Kevin, Jason, are really sole proprietors, single-owned businesses. Then you have the partners as well, partnership, real small businesses that make up the majority of the economic landscape here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So your scope is very, very broad, maybe even a little bit more broad than people would realize. And that's why you're here today too.
From the single owner to the large corporations here on island, we're here to provide the services or the guidance.
Absolutely. Okay. So Feli, thank you so much. And we look forward to bringing the questions to you now. We are compiling the questions, everybody. We're grouping these. A lot of these are asking similar things. So we're going to try and make the Q&A as short and sweet for you as possible, so that everybody watching us right now on the live stream, we ask that you take a couple moments, share this with your friends, because we're covering a lot of information right here that can help a lot of different Guamanians in a lot of different situations. And I know a lot of you who may want to file claims, this is maybe the first time you've done this. It can be a very confusing process, very, very scary, and that's fine. But what we're having here from our learned experts are showing you that it's not as complicated perhaps as you might think, and they are going to walk you through the process. They're hopefully going to get you not only the answers, but the relief that you're after in very short order. So while we do that, we're going to bring Mary from the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association back on, because Mary, I know a lot of the questions that have already been posed in our chat have to do with the hotels, and no one knows better than you and has the pulse of people that would work in our island's hospitality industry than you. So what do you got?
Right. Well, thank you again. And we're really appreciative of everybody's patience while we get to your questions. Some of the things that have been brought up, I would like to take note that GHRA is part of EFSF 6 again, out of the Guam Homeland Security, together for the Guam Comprehensive Emergency Plan. But part of that is the National Voluntary Organizations of Disaster, the VOAD groups. And those VOAD groups are going around, and these are groups like American Red Cross, Salvation Army. There are Catholic Social Services, Knights of Columbus. GHRA is part of that. And they are going around to all of the villages to provide life-sustaining kits, infant kits, food, water, for hotels, and restaurants. We've been coordinating donations for food and other supplies. So there are VOAD groups going out to each of the villages to provide all of these resources. And we have been working with some of the hotels to provide meeting spaces for them as they do these distribution areas. So I know that the pods are up and we do have the disaster recovery centers, but please know these national organizations are also going out. We have a great team of Rubicon here on Guam, and they go out and actually do amazing things with teams going out and clearing areas together with the government of Guam. And so from telecom, fuel, C-stores, service stations, and all the grocery stores who are providing all of those services, please know that we are also sharing updated lists of daily restaurant updates for our first responders and our community of where you can go out if you need to order food or to get additional meals for your teams. We know that everybody is needing resources, so we've been providing a lot of that information. I know between the Women's Chamber and the Guam Chamber of Commerce, they've also been sharing which businesses are open, and so we certainly appreciate that. There were some questions with regards to hotels and availability of rooms. We know that the primary portion of having to take care of our guests with the airport opening up early on May 29th, we were able to get a lot of our tourists out, but we still have some tourists still on island, but we also have first responders, of course, our military and our federal contractors staying in hotels. So the hotels are currently remediating those spaces and trying to get the rooms that are currently offline back into sale for those rooms as they're trying to handle repairs and trying to get those rooms back out for sale. But at this time currently, we are looking at between 60 to 80% occupancy for some hotels. And so it is really important that we continue to ensure that we have a safe and healthy environment for everybody. As the hotels were able to just get island water restored about a week and a half ago, and island power has since been resumed with all of the hotels that are members of GHRA just this last Sunday. So thank you to GWA and GPA. A lot of the hotels do house tens of thousands of people. And we know that together with the hospitals and the clinics and all of that, those are prioritizations for the government. And so we are closely working with them, but making sure that any available rooms right now, the priority is for first responders and humanitarian aid. And a lot of hotels have also been taking in additional residents. And so we will continue to handle all those remediation efforts. But right now, a lot of hotel rooms are not considered for sale at this time online. Some are listed, but for the most part, they are still recovering as well. So please be patient, and please know that we're going to continue to work on the safety of the properties, and then also working with public health on all of the issues that we continue to have with water, sanitation, and all of that. There have been various messages out there between Guam EPA and also Guam Water Works Authority, and making sure that I know GW came out with regards to the boil notice. We are working with public health to make sure that the issues that concerning water have been remediated, and the messages are clear that we will continue to operate as we've been allowed, especially working closely with public health and DEH. With regards to any short or long term, I know that, again, there were some questions on being able to get into hotels or other types of facilities for short or long term. As Veronica mentioned, as long as your renter's assurance is approved, then you will be able to get assistance for up to 7 days on that. But we will make sure that is on the FAQ. So at this time, I'd like to return it back to Jason so that we can handle any of the questions that have come in, and then direct those towards the agencies that it's best related to. We will publish, again, all of this on all of our streaming, all of our platforms within GHRA, the Women's Chamber, as well as SHRM and the Guam Chamber of Commerce, and of course our partner here at KUAM. We will make sure that we publish this, and all of our media partners, actually, we will be sharing all of this information, both the speakers, slide decks, as well as the live streaming recording. This will also be on our Facebook pages as well as YouTube. So with that, I'd like to turn it back to Jason. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary. And again, in addition to the questions, everybody, we ask that you've been taking notes during the various presentations we've had from FEMA, SBDC, SBDA, GHRA, all the wonderful presenters we've had throughout this morning. And I'm going to bring Veronica Verdi from the External Affairs Officer with FEMA back on. And I hope you guys have been taking notes as well as she has, because she is absolutely taking a look at your questions, making notes of it. Veronica, before we get into some of the specifics of the questions that have been posed in our chat, what topics did you see that are bubbling up the most?
I think we're seeing a lot of individuals that are asking about the ineligible letter. So we want people, again, to make sure they read through that letter. If they continue reading, it'll let them know why they're ineligible. Again, it could very well be just as easy as providing a proof of ownership. Maybe it could also be insurance information or identification.
Okay, so everybody, here are some of your questions. And again, we're combining a lot of these. A lot of you were asking variations of the same questions. So if you did ask questions to FEMA, this one's for you. Veronica, first one. Question seems to be, are individuals able to claim personal property damages with your agency if that property has become moldy due to a lack of power?
They should definitely file with FEMA and then just let us know what damages that you have. Many times we tell people don't wait to clean up, and that's why we don't want your personal property to get more damage. Start the cleanup, start your repairs now, and then call us and let us know what damages you do have. Of course, if you have insurance, make sure you do file an insurance claim. Let us know what the insurance is going to provide. Many times, again, as I stated earlier, many may be underinsured or underinsured. So we want to make sure that we provide that assistance.
All right, very well. And of course, Veronica is with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, a federal agency with the U.S. government. And I guess that works into our next question, because the question says, is assistance provided to citizens of the United States only, Veronica? Now, Guam is a very diverse community, a diverse society. There are many people who now consider themselves Guamanian, but not all of them are necessarily U.S. citizens. Are those people able to avail of your relief as well?
Yeah. So in one of my slides, I had, yes, U.S. citizens, non-citizen national, or qualified alien. However, if they do have a child that's born here in the U.S., they can use their Social Security to apply for FEMA.
Outstanding. Okay, so for those of you who are asking if Federated Associated States citizens are as well, then you can make sure to go to those resources and you can certainly apply.
Yeah, and also if they do apply for FEMA, we also have brought in and coordinate with our other partners like the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army. They also help to provide assistance as well.
Okay, this is an interesting question. Someone asked Veronica, what if people's homes, personal items, and property were damaged, but they already cleaned up at the time they filed their claim? Do they still have to be in the state that they were when they were damaged to make an assessment?
No, absolutely not. If
that can be dangerous too.
Yes. One, we don't want people to get sick. So again, the previous question is, my furniture is moldy, or you have personal property that's getting damaged as a result of more rain. Start to clean up now. We don't want people to wait. Take photos, take video. Any receipts that you have regarding any repairs that you've made, save those, provide those to FEMA, and we'll take a look at those. We don't want anybody to wait to get more sick from waiting to clean up.
All right. The Q&A, we told you it's going to come fast and furious, and we hope you are getting the answers you need. Certainly, Veronica and her colleagues at FEMA really helping us out. Next question, Veronica. Many Guam families tend to be multi-generational households, and one question asks, most Chamorro families share homes, or parents and their kids stay in the same home. Will occupancy rather than ownership count if they apply for individual assistance?
Occupancy, can work. I mean, we do look at the head of household to make that application, for that house. But if they have any questions, we really want individuals to call our 1-800-621-3360 when they are applying, and they can also visit the Disaster Recovery Center just to make sure that we obtain all of their losses.
All right. You're listening to Veronica Verde, the External Affairs Officer at the Federal Emergency Management Agency, talking about federal relief right here on this very, very special disaster recovery virtual session. Next question, Veronica. One person indicates that they have a special needs child who has prescription and infusion treatments, I guess respiratory issues. Are there resources available, this person asks, for hotel stays or other means of taking care of people with certain medical needs that need to be, housed, let's say, in a very specific type of environment?
Well, I mean, individuals, definitely should look again, to apply for FEMA. But if it's something that's immediate, they should be looking at perhaps, other types of resources. We do have our Health and Human Services team that are here on the ground, helping at the hospitals if there's that need. But as far as rental assistance, call us, let us know what your need is. Say specifically that particular need of your child or a family member, and we'll try to look to see what we can provide as far as assistance through our grant program.
All right, my friends, the people at FEMA, I mean, they've got this down to a science, which means they're going to evaluate your case. They're going to get you the relief that you seek as fast as you can make it. But certainly, Veronica, everyone is evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It's not like a cookie cutter.
Yes, everything's on a case-by-case. You're not going to receive the same as your neighbor. It's really going to be dependent on insurance, going to be dependent on your damages. So just go ahead and apply. Let's see what you may be available for. We want to get to a yes for everybody to try to help, everybody that was damaged and was affected by the storm.
Okay, these next two questions are very, very interesting. Somebody asks, obviously, home damage is very, very prevalent, but also vehicular damages. And someone asked Veronica, would FEMA give assistance for a significant amount of damage to a car, even if it's still drivable?
So we do, we do look at transportation. It has to be the primary vehicle. We don't look at anything exterior. We look to see if the car just is damaged and may not be drivable. But go ahead, if you haven't gone through your insurance, call us and ask those really good questions. Everybody's on a case by case. I don't know how much damage your car is. If it's your primary vehicle, that's important. Again, it has to be registered here in Guam, and also had to have some type of insurance, just to make sure that that may be eligible under our other need assistance. And of course, just if you call or register with us, we'll be able to see if that's eligible.
Yeah, a smashed windshield is definitely a much different case than a scratched windshield.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. One thing, Veronica, about our community here is we exhibit a lot of gratitude, and certainly we have immense respect and love for the work that you continue to do. Someone asked, are you accepting any volunteers at this time for FEMA? Because I have some people that were interested, and I just want to get in the fight.
I know American Red Cross is actually taking volunteers, and so if they call I think it's like 1-800 Red Cross, they are accepting volunteers for this particular typhoon. So that would be really important to help individuals. American Red Cross is doing great things out there, providing hot meals, to individual. They even are, going to some of the neighborhoods to try to provide those types of resources.
All right. So American Red Cross and also Salvation Army Guam chapter, everybody, if you would like to get directly involved, if you're a student who's now out of school and you want to get involved, if you want to help your neighborhood, your village, what your parish and everything like that, you can certainly get involved with the American Red Cross and with Salvation Army Guam chapter. Let me look at another one. One person asked Veronica, I understand that grant assistance is intended for home repairs, but there are completely demolished homes up north, especially two particular subdivisions, the Gilbaza subdivision and the Zero Down subdivision. This person asked, can FEMA provide durable tents for these for residents in those areas to at least have a temporary home?
Well, for FEMA, we want to make sure that we get people actually back into their home. So again, if they call and register with us, we provide rental assistance. So if there's a possibility for those individuals, mostly homeowners or renters, to rent someplace, while they're looking at what they're going to do for long-term housing, those are the type of grants that we provide. We want to try to get people back into their home. And so there are many programs that are available through FEMA, through our individual assistance program. Once they register, we'll run them through the system and see what they may be eligible for. So get into the system. Let us know, what your damages are. Let us know what your needs are. Please be specific. And we really want to try to get people again back into a better temporary home.
All right. Well, speaking of temporary, we Guamanians, we love to build. We love to tinker and make things. And one person asks, are accessories like storage sheds and tool sheds covered? Because someone asks, are equipment like lawnmowers, pressure washers, water blasters, are those covered as well?
Those are not covered under FEMA. FEMA really focuses on the home. We really want to try to get back, those homeowners that may be in shelters back into their homes. So we try to look at providing grant funding to help with repair replacement, to try to get those essential needs, help them jumpstart them into recovery. All
right. Okay. And final question for Veronica. And up next, we got the Small Business Administration coming up. So Veronica's final question as far as FEMA goes. Remember, everybody, this presentation that lives on, so you'll be able to watch it on demand on KUM News' Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, also with the GHRA on their social media as well. Final question. We've been talking about homes, Veronica, on an infrastructure level. Someone asked, my water line was uprooted when a tree toppled over. I've seen a lot of that. They asked, can I get assistance as far as maybe repairing from FEMA my home's infrastructure? So,
again, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I would just say, let's go ahead and call us and register with us. If that is an essential emergency repair to get them back into their house, that is something that we may look and consider. Okay. So, yeah. So I guess the overriding sentiment as far as FEMA, as Veronica has said, everybody, please just ask, reach out. I mean, the worst they can say is I can refer you to another agency or another organization where you can get help. So yes. Yeah, Veronica, well done. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Siduos Masi, and thank you so much from our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so the questions continue to come in right now. I have some questions now for the Small Business Administration. So let's bring back in Kevin Nguyen, once again, the External Affairs Officer for SBA. Kevin is now in the seat. Assuming that, so Kevin, a lot of questions right now. And again, I think one thing that people may not know is how broad the coverage of the SBA is and how wide your scope is to assist those in need.
Yes, it is. And up to $200,000 for their primary residence, personal property up to $40,000. And they may be able to cover some of those lawnmowers and some of that equipment, especially a business. If they have that kind of thing, if they're a landscape, we can cover that as well for businesses as well. But homeowners can also apply with SBA. And what FEMA and SBA we emphasize, register, get with FEMA, come to SBA. The quicker you get into the system, the quicker we can get disaster dollars flowing into your account to begin the recovery process.
There, so you go. So we just dovetail off that, and I hope the person who posed that question was watching right there. So again, these agencies, they are not competitors; they are partners. So if one, it's outside maybe the scope of one, they're definitely going to refer to the other one. And we are going to get you the help we need. So starting again with the maybe some of the questions about U.S. citizens, non-U.S. citizens. Kevin, somebody asked, if I have a company where the majority shareholder is not a United States citizen, can that company qualify for a loan under the U.S. SBA?
We don't make any kind of loan decisions in the field. What we do is we encourage these companies to apply with SBA. Loan officers will look at the file and make the decision from our Fort Worth Processing and Disbursement Center. I can't go on the air and say, yes, we will qualify you. But what we do is we want them to apply. We'll do anything, we will do everything we can in order to get them to get a low interest disaster loan to get their business running again and keep their employees employed, which stabilizes the tax base of Guam.
Very well. Okay, this next question is really interesting. Somebody asks, I have an existing SBA disaster loan due to the pandemic from a couple of years ago. If I already have an outstanding loan for the US SBA, can I then apply for a typhoon disaster?
Yes, you can. You
Okay.
can also apply for a disaster assistance loan. What we'll do is we'll take into consideration the repayment ability of the applicant, and we'll work with that as well.
Okay.
And as I mentioned earlier, Jason, we also refinance these large mortgage loans or large mortgage rate interest rates loans. So if they come into SBA, if they have 40% or more uninsured damage, SBA can look at that and probably bring them into the 2.5% terms up to 30 years, 1 year deferral to help them get that recovery started.
All right. Well, of course, I was talking to a fellow a little while ago, Kevin, about what exactly the scope in terms of number of employees or annual earnings that the SBDC covers. And the next question says, if a business's damages exceed $2 million, what options does that business have to access funding through either the SBA or FEMA?
Our loan rate or loan terms are up to 30 years, and the amount is $2 million. Now, if they're a major source of employer on Guam, we have the ability to go up to $10 million on that as well. But our cap limit is $2 million unless they're a major source of employment out here on Guam. Once again, register with SBA. Have a loan officer help you go through that file and see what they can do to get you some money as well. Counseling from our SBDC consultants can also reorganize your business plan as well. And that's free counseling from the SBDC on the island. Go through that. Generally during disasters, business plans are going to change. If you go get that free counseling, they can help you with that. But our loans are capped at $2 million for business physical disaster losses and economic injury. The aggregate total, as I mentioned, $2 million.
Okay, here's an interesting question. Somebody says, if I do in fact own a small business, but I am not the owner of the property where the business license is addressed, that's a very specific question, but I'm sure that's many Guam businesses have that specific case. Can you qualify for assistance other than a US SBA loan? So again, if you own a small business, but you're not the owner of the property where the business license is, can they apply with, do they qualify under the SBA?
Yes, apply with SBA. I would imagine the owner of that business or that property would also be eligible because he's renting that out. So they would apply as a rental property. The owner of the business that where it's at can apply for his furniture fixtures, his inventory, machinery and equipment, lost inventory, as I mentioned. They can also apply for that. So that'd be two separate SBA loans, the owner of the property and the business on the property for their business physical loss.
Okay, and as we just talked about, if you're just joining the live stream right now, Hafaday, and welcome to this unbelievably informative and special and meaningful session with FEMA, the US SBA and the SBDC. Somebody asked, and this is a type of small business that is hugely popular on Guam, Kevin. Somebody asks, can landlords apply for assistance to repair condo units? There are many, many landlords here, and that is either their primary means of income, retirees, or they're full-time employees and they just do that on the side.
Right. And so that would be considered a rental property, a condo, right? So yes, they can apply. They'd be at that 4% rate, also terms up to 30 years, also the 1 year deferral as well. But that would be considered a rental. Yes, they can apply. Homeowners associations can apply as well. The property inside the condo would be considered personal property. They can apply for that. Anything outside the walls, the homeowners association could also take out a loan with SBA up to $2 million to repair or replace all of that damaged disaster property.
Okay. Well, speaking of outside, that's maybe the operative word for this next question. Somebody asked, what else is out there for nonprofit organizations and relief for that sector, in addition to or aside from the SBA loans?
Up to $2 million for nonprofits.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that's what they mean at the 2.75% rate as well. We also have, as Veronica has mentioned, BOAS, volunteer organizations active in disaster, can also seek assistance from the private nonprofits can also seek assistance from them as well. But in terms of SBA, we offer the low interest disaster loans for those private nonprofits, business or the physical loss and economic injury.
Right. So again, so churches, places of worship, SBA is you are under SBA's purview as well. I just learned that this past time. And again, many people on Guam did not know that. So if you are the owner, if you're the proprietor, if you're the pastor, the overseer, if you will, of a place of worship and everything, SBA stands ready to help you out too. Here's a very specific one, Kevin. Someone says, I own a retail business in the central part of the island, but I have overflow inventory in 2 storage units a couple municipalities away. So there's like a geography thing. There was damage in my unit to part of the building, which was ripped open, causing severe water damage. Am I still able to make a claim with FEMA? If you have a geographically spread out business, I guess.
Yes, that would be considered inventory. We ran into this situation during Hurricane Katrina where a lot of folks had their assets in storage lots along the road. That is eligible for SBA disaster assistance. Make sure you put that on the application, both homeowners and businesses. So that inventory would be eligible for SBA disaster assistance loan.
Yeah, you may have a warehouse, you may have a shop, you may have,
Right.
you know, like we talked about tool sheds before and everything like that. So certainly that's something that you're not unfamiliar with.
Right, offsite, apply with SBA, we can cover that.
Yes, sir. Okay, and final one for Kevin. We'll get to the Small Business Development Center. We'll bring Felly back in a moment. For small businesses, Kevin, can they apply for FEMA or SBA while private insurance are doing their assessments and delivering what coverage they may qualify for?
Right, and they would apply with SBA if they're a business. We encourage businesses, or church is your first line of defense, as Veronica has said, but we encourage businesses to come to SBA, apply even before the insurance is settled. It may take a while for your insurance. SBA can have loan funds in your account so you can begin the recovery process. No need to wait on insurance settlements. Apply with SBA. We will then take an assignment of insurance proceeds, Jason, and that way they can get, like I said, the insurance money or their loan funds into the account, begin the recovery process, get on the road to recovery, keep that business open, keep those employees employed, stabilize the tax base of Guam, and go.
Well, these people that we're meeting here today, my fellow Guamanians, are about as Guamanian as they get because they genuinely care about helping our neighbors. That's what we call here, Kevin, is possibly our highest virtue. It's called inafamalik in our native language, and it means to take care of your neighbors, not only at our times of greatest need, but 24/7 and everything like that. So you are absolutely a Guamanian, and we welcome you here, and we thank you for the very fine work that you and your team do. We're eternally in your debt.
Happy to help, sir.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's bring Felly back in now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Small Business Development Center, because there are certainly some questions that she would address. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so Felly, you were also paying attention to the chat and everything, and you saw some stuff come up that you'd like to address.
So probably most important in order to get your loan process is update your financial statements. Get the year-end 2022 financial statements completed. If your tax returns have yet to be filed, contact your bookkeeper, your accountant, get those filed. If not, then a company prepared financial statement might work. As well as getting your interim statements, interim statements, at least maybe as of the first quarter of 2023. Please update your GRT online filings. If your business license is in the process of getting renewed, make sure your business license is renewed. And probably most important as well is ensuring that your insurance coverage certificate is up to date and available, because these are probably one of the documents necessary to record the loan and or get the loan process.
So I don't want to be like glasses half empty guy, but typically the one thing that does tend to cause discrepancies in the process and everything are little like paperwork, either inaccuracies or things not completely filled out.
Yes, we are here to provide, to look at all the documents you have with your financial statements, as well as your insurance certificates, to make sure that the proper location is identified. So any concerns you have in terms of what documents you need to submit to SBA to get your loan process, we can do that.
Okay.
And we, as soon as possible, please call the office 735-2590 to get the process started. I can either visit your place of business so that you can remain at your place of business, and almost all the documents are located at your business. So you don't have to lug your documents down to SBDC. I can visit your site. You're welcome to call me over the phone. And if we need to do counseling via Zoom, that is available.
Okay, who would be the most effective person on behalf of say like if a small business has, like different departments, or they have a board, would it be the CEO themselves or the financial person or the HR person, or who would be the best person to submit that?
Probably the bookkeeper,
Okay.
or I'm sorry, bookkeeper and or their in-house accountant.
Okay, accountings, financial managers, like stuff like that.
And a lot of times here in Guam, because the businesses are pretty small, it'd be the business owner themselves, because
Okay.
they would have all the information necessary to complete the process.
Okay, so Kelly, thank you so much, and God
Thank
bless
you.
you for the amazing work that you continue to do. Tell you what, everybody, I would like to bring back on the two ladies that we started with, Jessica Leon Guerrero and Maria Leon Guerrero, our two board members for the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. And it's the Guam Women's Chamber, as well as the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, the Society for Human Resources Managers. HR is going to play a major role, trust me, in the recovery. We learned that through COVID. HR took on a completely new role in many companies. The practice expanded in so many ways, as well as the Guam Chamber of Commerce. Ladies, what an amazing opportunity you provided right now. But the caring continues, and the fact that the information has to continue to flow out there. What does it mean to the two of you to be in the private sector and be able to connect people with this kind of information?
Well, it's definitely a challenge that we're ready to step up to. We're grateful for all the questions that came in through the chat. We didn't have the ability to answer every single one, but we will be archiving all of them, getting the answers for all of them and making them available through our respective channels, on our websites, through Guam Women's Chamber, the Guam Chamber of Commerce, SHRM, and also Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. So we're just happy to, really just connect people with the answers that they need. We have FEMA and SBA that have stood up their centers where all of the more detailed questions can be answered and people can avail and start the application process. So, we're here to provide resources, but really these are the people that can actually help.
Okay, Jess, on word, please.
Well, we, wish everyone a speedy recovery. We thank all those frontliners, all those first responders, all those here willing and ready to help our island. We definitely are a resilient island, but we do know that there are resources. And so, continue to follow us on social media. We are trying to get the word out on everything we can do that, is providing resources or who are providing resources to our island. So we wish everyone a speedy recovery, and we will get through this.
There you go. And as these learned, wonderful business leaders and agency representatives and people that genuinely care have taught us, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of answers, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of websites and contact information. But what we really hope to deliver to you all this morning is one thing that we all need, is hope right now. So for all of us at all the organizations who brought this to you, on behalf of the GHRA, the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Society of Human Resources Managers, and the Guam Chamber of Commerce, FEMA, the SBDC, and the US SBA, I'm Jason Salas. Thank you so much. Please be safe out there and be strong, Guam. We will talk to you very, very soon.